Hello there. Today I thought I'd show you all my cameras that I've picked up over the years. So I've got quite the collection now. I've been doing this for maybe 5 years now. So I thought it could be interesting to do a little walkthrough of all the things I've collected, and that would also give a hint of what the channel is going to be about in the near future, because I'm going to take all these out, test them and make a little review. And so you can see if it's something worth picking up or not. So let me start from the very beginning, all those years ago when I picked up the first camera. So I got this one. This is the Sony A7, the original mirrorless. So yes, I was an early adopter to the mirrorless technology. I skipped everything, DSLRs, went straight for the mirrorless. And now, when I shoot it all these years afterwards, it's a pretty crappy camera, to be honest. It's really stuttering when you look through the viewfinder, and I never really took to this camera. It wasn't the camera that kicked off my photography interest. It actually delayed it by many years because I didn't like it. It was quite the horrible camera to use. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why. Why don't I like it? Why don't I like taking it out? And I think what I've realized now is that it's probably because of this very, very bad lens, the kit lens that they shipped it with. So this is the FE 3.5 to 5.6, 28 to 70. That's the kit lens that you get when I bought it, and it's terrible. It's got smudgy corners, does nothing right, it can't focus. I have no idea why they shipped their flagship camera with this horrible lens. And back then, Sony really didn't have any other lenses. They had maybe a couple of G Master lenses that you had to pay $3,000–4,000 for, and that was not acceptable. So I used this for the longest time and couldn't figure out why I didn't really want to go out photographing. But that's it. And what I also realize now is that the colors are absolutely atrocious in this. And I think this is where Sony's got their reputation of having bad color science from. It's from these original cameras. They really look bad. The greens in this camera is absolutely horrible. Everything got this yellow tint to it that doesn't look good at all. I think Sony color science have improved quite a lot when I watch other people's RAWs and things like that. It's a different game, but I think this is where they got their reputation, the color science from these cameras. Now, what did kick off my photography interest was this series of cameras. This is the Fujifilm. Actually, this is not the one I got. When the Sony broke down, I actually got a Fuji XT30, and I absolutely loved it. That's a fantastic camera, and that's what got me into film as well, because I was looking at those film sims. Back in the day, I only thought there was like Kodak Gold, and that's it. But then I realized that it's like 20 different types of film. Now, even then, this is 2018, a lot of them started to get discontinued. But it was enough to kick off my interest in film and getting some film cameras. But like I said, I began with the XT30, which I've now since sold. And then I went from that to an XT4, which I have also sold. I was never happy with the XT4. But I was really happy with the XT30, and I think the XT3, which I never owned, would have been the perfect one of them. But the camera I still have left is the XE3, and this is with the Tamron Mega Zoom 18 to 300. And it's also a fantastic little camera, this one here. So, like I said, what got me into film was the Fujis. I looked at those film sims and picked up a film camera. So my first film camera was this one. It's the Bronica SQA. The reason I got this one is because a friend's dad used to shoot with these, and he had them hanging about in his attic, and I could buy it. So I got this one with a couple of lenses, and it absolutely blew me away. I think this is a fantastic camera. It's so much fun opening up the viewfinder, looking down, seeing the image there. And it just takes fantastic pictures. I think this is one of the greatest cameras ever made. Well, there's something magical about the lenses, right? That's what I think. And I've tried other cameras as well, the Hasselblads and stuff, and they're of course absolutely fantastic. But the kind of golden magic you get out of the Bronica is actually quite quite special. It's a nice camera, very underrated I think, and if you get a chance to pick it up, and just do it, because the lenses are great, everything is great about it, there's nothing wrong whatsoever. Might look a little bit clunky, but that's about it. Well, the deeper you fall into the film camera hole, eventually you will feel the urge to pick up a Leica. So I picked up a Leica M2. Well, I was looking at the other ones. At the time when I bought this one, the M6 was about £2,000. I was living in the UK at the time, and I thought that was a little bit much, perhaps. So I got this one for around £800, newly CLA'd and in fantastic condition, and I don't regret that at all. The first time you feel the Leica in your hand, you know it's something special. I think everybody has to do, oh, what's so special with the Leica? And then you hold it and you shoot with it a little bit and go like, oh yeah, I get it. Now I get it. So the M2, I think, is probably one of the best of the cheaper ones. Or I think it's got the design language that I really enjoy. I like the rewind button here. That's the one I like. You can see when the new cameras, the MAs and the MPs, right, it's like 90% looks like an M2, and I think the only thing that's not the M2 is this dial here that counts your number of shots, which admittedly is very flimsy and doesn't look very good here. It's the one thing that brings it down, I think. But otherwise, I think it's an excellent camera. I think this is the way to go. I don't like the M6 one with the plastic flurp on it, but this flurp here is really good. And the negatives with it might be, except the dial, the view thing here is pure metal, so I put some soft material on it so I don't scratch my glasses when I use it with glasses. And you might argue that it only had frame lines down to 35, which for me is perfect. It's still better than the M3, which only got 50mm. So I think that's pretty good, but if you need the 28, you need to go up to an M6, I think, or M4 maybe works as well. But other than that, I think it's a great one. Oh, it doesn't have a light meter built in, which is a bit of a bummer. It works if you're shooting black and white. I can kind of read the light outside, but shooting color, it gets really hard, and it's actually one of the reasons why I don't use it as much as I thought I would, because you kind of lose a little bit of the freedom. With a Leica, you want to go around just clicking. You don't want to get out of the mood, so to speak. Put this down, measure the light, get it up. It's not the way you want to operate a Leica. So you want to go around like this. That's what you want to do with it. So a Leica with a light meter would be preferable, I think. But since the Leica felt a bit expensive, and because of the light meter issue, I felt I had to pick up another one, a DSLR, so I went for the Pentax MX, which is really great. Everything works just as you want it to work. I think the lenses are amazing for the Pentax MX system, or the Pentax M system. And no complaints there at all. The viewfinder is great. It handles really well. And it's a joy to use, so much that I actually picked up its big brother as well. So I got the Pentax LX, which is even better. It's a bit heftier perhaps, but it's absolutely fantastic to use. It's got the world's best viewfinder. It just looks better than reality. All the features you could ever want in a DSLR. This is a true pro camera. It's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic to use. So I think I would recommend, if you find an LX, that's the one I would get instead of an MX. It's just a little bit better, but it's also a little bit heavier. Okay, so with the Bronica, I was out hiking in the mountains with it and thought, oh, maybe it's a little bit too heavy. I need something that's a little bit more nimble. So I picked up the Mamiya 645 Pro, even so much actually that I got two of them, actually by mistake, but that's a long story. So I thought this would be a bit lighter. It is a tiny bit lighter, but it's kind of hefty build. It is quite heavy. Once you get the grip on and this viewfinder here, it's actually quite the chunky package. But still, it's smaller than the Bronica, but it turned out it wasn't the thing I wanted for hiking. It still was too big, but I really wanted a medium format camera out in the mountains. So what I did is that I had to look further. So we're still in Mamiya land. So what I found is the Mamiya 6 MF. Well, I was looking at the Mamiya 7. Now that's a bit too pricey. Not that this is cheap by any means, but I really like this one because of the compactability, and that it would be easy to hike with. So I got all 3 lenses with it. It only has 3 lenses, which could be good or bad, depending on how many lenses you actually want to carry around. But it's good for gas. You don't have to worry about finding more lenses. I got 3, and that's all I need. But this is a fantastic camera. It's by far my favorite camera. It really delivers. It's so sharp and so nice. But this is a little bit what I mean with compared to the Bronica. This one takes definitely better pictures than the Bronica, but the Bronica puts a little bit more of a vintage magic into their shots. This almost looks like a very good digital shot. Could argue is it too good? Still my favorite camera though. I really like using this one. As I got more and more hooked on film cameras, I really wanted a large format camera. Been watching Ben Horn and stuff, and I'm thinking that's why I could be. Taking it real slow, walking out into the wilderness, packing a big camera like this. Turns out it wasn't exactly like that. So this is the Intrepid Mark IV with a Schneider Kreuznach lens there. And I got a few accessories to this one. I got a 6x12 back that I really like. It is very slow, and it's kind of tricky to shoot. It's the problem with a large format is that you have so few shots that you never really feel that you can waste a shot or anything. Still have to shoot more with it, see what if it really is for me, but it is kind of tricky, and I'm not sure that the Intrepid is the best new beginner camera, even though it's cheap, but it is kind of flimsy. It's got this mechanism here that's the focusing mechanism has a tendency to come loose, and the whole thing wobbles backwards and forwards. It's a very bad system here, so something is wrong. They should really address that, make that a bit more sturdy, because it breaks down very often, and then you got very hard time to focus. It's not good at all. This is the original Leica Q. I picked this up not too long ago because they started getting cheap. As you may well know, it's a Leica, and the Leica Qs, they cost a fortune. When the Leica Q3 came out, these dropped in price to sub 2,000. And I could pick one of these up at a Leica store. Now the thing with these, they're absolutely magical to use. You can feel the whole Leica quality holding it, and you go like, this is something special. The lens is as good as it gets. It's a 24 megapixel camera, but the lens makes it feel like it's a 50 megapixel camera. It's like razor sharp. You see every strand of hair is defined perfectly, and it's a joy to use. However, it's the world's most sensitive camera, which a lot of Leicas are. What happened even after 1 week is that there is in the viewfinder there's a common problem where it delaminates the little TV screen that's in there, and it looks absolutely horrible. And it's because if it's a little bit moist and cold outside, it can delaminate, and then you have to send it into Leica, wait for half a year before you get the camera back. So that's what happened here as well. That's not good, of course. It's also it has a problem with freezing all the time. So what a lot of people do is that they leave the camera, the battery hatch open, and just whenever it freezes, you pop out the battery, put the battery back in, and you're ready to shoot. So it kind of looks like this, which is a bit silly, but yeah, that's the Leica tax you have to pay. It's weird. It's not only pricey, it's also you have to do a few weird things to make it work. And I think the lack of weather sealing brings this one down, or else it's a really great camera if it only would hold up. Because now I'm super afraid of taking it out anywhere. I think it's best used if you're going to, let's say, Italy, sitting in a cafe, drinking an espresso, having this in front of your espresso cup, walking around, shooting in the sunshine, that kind of thing. I also have a couple of Polaroids. This is the SX70 Model 2 with the ultrasound focusing mechanism in the front there, and this is the Land 1000, a simple model from the 80s. Both are great, fun to use. Classic design on this one. You can say it gets a little bit uglier with that ultrasound thing on top of it, but it actually works and it's kind of great. And it's as fun as it ever was to shoot with Polaroids. It's a ton of fun. Really like it. And now we're coming to the section where we have some attic finds. This is some cheap-ass Fuji clear shot. I have not tried it yet, but I might put a roll through it. Something from the 90s, I think, or 80s even. See if it works here. And this is an Olympus Super Zoom. Going to try that as well. This one feels a little bit more sturdy than the Fujifilm. This one though I think is pretty cool. It's a Voigtlander Vito C. So it's the world's tiniest 35mm camera. So it's got a flash attachment there. That's this thing here. So that comes off. And you don't need that, of course. And then you have what looks to be the tiniest camera I've ever seen. So this one flips out, and it's an excellent color scope or lens here. And you just, you should go around and shoot with it. It's zone focusing only. But I'm thinking now that Pentax 17 came out. This is kind of the contender. There's plenty of these cameras around that does this with the zone focusing, works great. It has automatic metering, light metering, so it's a fantastic little pocketable camera. I really like it. And I'm going to try shooting a little bit more with this one. It's good for those stealthy moments. The last of the film cameras is the Holga. Now, it is kind of cool that it's cheap and it produces wonderfully shitty images, but with film prices these days it always feels like I'm throwing money in the sea if I use a nice film roll going through this. But I might go out and shoot some rolls of Fomapan or some cheap film like that, maybe Kentmere, and see how it is. I never really warmed to this. I shot one roll through it and it's like, probably not for me. Now we're into digital film cameras. This is the DJI Action 4, absolutely excellent. That's the one I use for hiking, fantastic. And the stuff you see on here is the Wind Slayer. Get it from Amazon for a few bucks. And it really solves all your problems with audio when you're out hiking. You just put this thing on and you don't have to worry about getting bad sound ever again. So that's absolutely fantastic. I got the DJI Mini 3, which is as good as any of these mini drones gets. It's absolutely a joy to fly. And I live in Germany, so this is the biggest drone you can fly around here. It's actually, if you get like an Air or a Mavic, I think it's pretty much forbidden everywhere, but this one you can actually fly in some places, even though it's heavily restricted, even with a tiny thing like this. But the Mavics, I haven't seen anywhere where you actually are allowed to fly those in Germany. After I thought I'd upgrade from my Fuji XT4 to something more serious, I fell for the medium format hype. So I just had to get one of these, and I was thinking, should I get the 50S2 or should I get this one? And I just loved the rangefinder style, so I fell for it. Now it isn't all that bad because it's a fantastic camera and it's really a joy to use. And I could get it pretty cheap as well because when I bought it, it was getting discontinued, and the ones they have left, they were just selling them for half the price. So you could get it at a really good price. And I think still today, if you get this secondhand, it's the best way to get into medium format, if that floats your boat, which for me it does. But I think if you're going to use medium format cameras, you have to lean into all the quirks with it. You have to love the depth of field. You get like half an extra stop of depth of field or extra blurriness with it. If you're a landscape photographer and you want sharpness back to front, this is probably just going to give you an extra hassle to get rid of that. But if you want some blurriness, it gives you a little bit extra for free. And it's absolutely fantastic to adapt old lenses to it. if you like that kind of look. Even my Pentax lenses gives a nice, wonderful vignette around the corner when you use that. So that's great. Well, I do love this. This is my main stills photography camera, so it's not bad at all. And I could see myself getting more Fuji GFX stuff in the future if the price is right. Not to forget, the camera that I'm filming on is the Nikon Setf, my absolute favorite digital camera at the moment. It's my stills and video camera of choice. I think it's absolutely perfect. It does everything I need it to do. I think 24 megapixels is more than enough. The lenses are great. The quirkiness you can feel with it goes away after a few weeks when you've learned how to use it. And if you're willing to not let that get in your way, it's a very well priced camera. You get a lot of stuff in it for a little amount of money, and I have absolutely enjoyed it, and don't feel the need to get anything else for a long time. So yeah, but that's it. That's all my cameras, and more reviews and will come from these cameras one at a time in the future. So I hope you tune in for that, and like and subscribe this one if you're interested to see some more of my cameras out in the field in the future. Thanks.